I'm a king.
What it do, what it do, what it do? It's your boy CP. I'm back again. Got my dog, Second Chance Will, with me from Post Peak Chronicles. Came to do an episode with me today on my YouTube show podcast. I appreciate it. Definitely,
Very,
we go back and got the same upbringing and where we come from. So, um, I wanted to ask you about your transition from Mac Bo to Will, right? A lot of
mhm.
people may know that have followed your transition and what Post Peak Chronicles is about, but a lot of people that may not know. But me, I like to get to the nitty gritty and the start of it all, and just going all the way back. I like to know more about your story because I think it's inspirational. It's inspirational to me for one, just to see the transition and the things that people can do and the obstacles that you overcame because I didn't have to overcome. I got a lot of the same obstacles, but I didn't do the kind of time that you did. I was locked up, caught charges, did all that kind of shit, but I lucked up to where I didn't have to go through as much as you had to go through, and even what it does to you psychologically, right? So I mean, starting off, back bow, deciding to gang bang. What was your what was your why?
So first and foremost, man, I just want to say thank you for, having me on your show, bro. I see you definitely creative. You definitely doing your things. And, my hat's off to you. I ain't got one on, but if I did, I'd be taking it off for you.
For that?
But but yeah, man, he said, MacBo, what was my why? Why did I get into that life in the first place? And I've always been Will. I just want to start there. Like I've always been Will. Growing up in Skyline. I moved to Skyline in the seventh grade, went to Keeler, and it was like friendship. Coming from different part of San Diego, when I moved over there, it was going to a club on 68th and Imperial. That was the place to be. And it wasn't really gangs that enticed me, it was the brotherhood, the friendships. And I was missing something inside of my own home at the time. And I just needed something to call my own, some type of family. And that family was the people that I found at the Boys and Girls Club.
So you said you was missing something at home. Was it like I remember I don't know if it was at your wedding. What was it? I believe you said something about, was it you and your dad? Y'all wasn't the tightest. Y'all didn't have the kind of relationship that you always had wanted, and now your relationship is much tighter now than it used to be. Was that the missing piece, like
Yeah,
not having your father like
definitely.
that leadership role and leading you down a different path?
So you know, my dad at that time had lost my mother when I was 8 years old, and I moved into a home with my dad. My dad came and got me. He did, what I'm saying? He did his grown man thing. He came and got me and my sisters, moved us in the home, and he had a new wife, a new baby, and he tried to blend those families. And for a time, it worked. And then my dad just fell on like certain hard times at his job, and so he wasn't as present, right? He's going through what I now know was probably a depression, just a mini depression. He can't work like he was. He's just stuck in the house while he's figuring out, his situation. And then my stepmom, she didn't make it any better because she didn't treat us with any kind of love. She didn't accept us as her kids. We just were tolerated and we felt it. It's one thing to know that she said it. It's another thing to actually show it. Like, I see you know how to show people love because you gave it to your nieces or nephews or kids of your friends. So you know how to be nice, you know how to show love, but you decided not to give it to us. So that home or the house we lived in didn't feel like a home. And again, my dad was going through what he was going through. So that's the only person I had. So with him gone and dealing with what he was dealing with, there was a void.
So now, was that a conversation you would have with your father about how she treats you guys or don't treat you and what you're looking for, especially losing your mom, not having one, and then this woman is in the picture and she's not reciprocating anything to you?
Nah, because I mean, we was kids, like, I can only now identify what was missing, but at that time in my life, I don't know what I need. I don't know. I know my mom's gone. I know I probably need a mom, but what does that really look like? What does it look like? And some things are obvious. And again, my daddy, I mean, he ain't nobody perfect and he was doing his best. I know that now, but at the time it didn't feel like that. So no, we didn't have the conversations like, "Hey, where are you at? And I need a mom, and she's not treating us like kids, and she's not showing us any love or anything like that." Those aren't the conversations that I'm having as a kid. I just know something's missing, and I need to go find it.
So 15, 16, getting into banging like heavier, right? That's usually when the heavy shit starts to hit, right? You start to experience your first homie's deaths and everything that's going on and being out there and probably start hitting your first licks. And like, I tell people all the time, the shit that I did before 18, like as much shit as I did and got away before 18, like the felon list would be long as hell, right? When you're in there and you in that situation, I mean, was your dad trying to pull you out of it, or was he, at that point, was he acting? I know you said you lost your mom at 8 and you moved in with your pops, but 15, 16, was there any relationship there and he knew what was going on, or
So there was always a relationship with my dad, but again, there was something missing. So during that time, my transition into banging was very gradual. It was very gradual. It didn't just happen overnight. I get kicked out of Keeler, over some just silly stuff, right? Go to another continuation school, Alba, and I get kicked out of there. Then I go to O'Farrell. Now I'm really starting to delve into, little gang banging and stuff because I'm hanging with people who are actually gang banging at this time. Now we 13, we in the eighth grade. And so people are actually banging and they've been banging. And I catch another case and I get kicked out of O'Farrell. And now I go to Summit and now I'm a tied in and I'm associated. Back then it's like I'm not banging, but I'm claiming. So now
right,
I'm claiming Skyline and I'm on the other side of town. Now they looking at me like I'm from Skyline. Now I got to deal with issues because of that. Right. So it's a lot that slowly pushes me that way, but my dad doesn't really see the gang banging side. He just sees me acting up and he's doing what a parent is doing. He's whooping me, he's talking to me, he's feeling like he's disciplining me in the way that he feels like he needs to, but it's not what I needed at the time. I didn't know what I needed at that time, but I wasn't receiving it,
so
right?
at what
And
point did he
slowly
find
but surely, I
out?
just keep getting into it.
At what point did he find out or realize the shit got real? That's what I'm really
Uh,
trying to.
Man, okay. Let me see. I did that at O'Farrell. I got kicked out of there, got kicked out of Summit. I go to UC, and that's when I really start acting up. When I get to UC, I'm just everybody up there, like we just running amok through the whole school and doing the most. And he really don't really tie me in with gang banging, but I'm doing it. But when he finally knew, my sister told him. My sister told him. And I remember vividly, he told me, he's like, man. Matter of fact, it's good that you bang it because where you going, you gonna need some help, right? So that's what he said. But he didn't leave me out there. Like I'm not gonna sit here and bash my father because whenever I got arrested and I would get arrested with, other friends, other homies and stuff like that, and we all go to court and they didn't have their dad in court. So they was going to juvenile hall. But my dad was there, and the judge would always see my dad there, and they would always release me to my dad, because he always fought for me. He never just leave me to the wolves,
Right.
you
So
know?
he's like, I'm gonna ride it out with you if this is what you want to do, but this ain't really where it's at. So,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you and P. Bryce, what was your charges in? I mean, I'm not gonna ask you what happened exactly, but what was your charges in when you was going through it? Like when you finally went to jail, was that the first time y'all hit the bounty?
That was the first time I actually went to juvenile hall. That's the first time I ever been locked up. I had been arrested, going to Skyline police station, a couple times, and my dad coming to get me from there, or them dropping me off because juvenile hall is too late to be dropping me off in juvenile hall, so they dropped me off at home, take me home. But that was the very first time I was ever arrested and sent to juvenile hall because I went to juvenile hall. I was 17 years old.
Right. So when y'all caught them charges, both y'all 17 at the time, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we were both 17.
So they waited until you turned 18 and tried you as an adult. Well, they sent
No,
they
they charged me as an adult immediately. We direct filed. We all got tried as an adult immediately.
okay. So you was looking at life. Now
75 years to life.
I was
Yeah,
told a funny story. I was told that I believe Reggie Bushman was the bailiff, and y'all was looking at life, and it came to y'all with a deal for like what 21.
yeah.
And they said you when y'all took the deal, you was in there dancing like, oh, they ain't give me life. We got 21, they ain't get life. And like you was like happy and excited about it.
I don't. Nah, I don't remember that.
Well,
I don't. I don't remember that.
that's how your co-defendant kind of told it, like, nigga, what? This nigga was like kind of like, and we ain't get life, like, happy. I mean, I can understand if somebody happy and get life and they got a good ass deal, you know what I'm saying? Or if you consider 21 a good ass deal, but
I mean, it's so many years ago that I can't. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I don't remember that, but to be happy about not getting life, I mean, of course, you know. But at that point in my life, I wasn't really in the joking around playing stage, right? Like I had moved away from. I'm playing in big boy time now.
right.
I'm not. I'm a kid, but I'm not a kid.
So at what point did you get into the county jail? You was already going to the county jail by the time that they had already that you took your
I
time.
went to county jail when I was 18 years old on my 18th birthday. I went to the county jail on my 18th birthday. And yeah, so the whole situation, man, like I went to juvenile hall and I thought it was a joke. I thought that was a joke. When I first got to juvenile hall, we in the holding tank. I'm joking around. I'm clowning, ha 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 ha. And they banged me upside the head with them charges, 75 years to life. What? Now it's real. Now I'm not joking anymore. It's not a game anymore. And I gotta be tough outside the cell, but then I go back to my cell and I'm crying because it's not a game. I thought all this stuff was a game. I thought this gang banging stuff was a game. All this it's just fun until now you gotta be an adult. I'm 17 years old. I'm a child. I look at 17-year-old kids now. I'm like, bro, you're a kid.
I
You're
look
a kid.
I look at that every day the same way. I just told my daughter the same thing. Like, yeah, when you turn 18, you're not no adult. You're still a kid. You're still gonna be my kid. I'm still gonna have to guide you and tell you what to do. I think about my own experience and transition of life to understanding that shit was real. And Nate died at 17, 5 days for his 18th birthday. I mean, of course, little Pookie had got killed before that, but I was tight with him like that. But me and Nate, we family. You know what I'm saying? So when he died, it was like when he's who he is. If y'all can get him, y'all can get anybody. You know what I'm saying? Not that I
Yeah.
think that him being a kid and like at that time, at that age, you got to think about guns and everything already going around. Niggas getting popped, niggas got wops, niggas you can't you go down the street without them. You know what I'm saying? Like you would think that you're a grown man at that age. Like when I think back to 17 and 16, 17, 18, I'm
Thought
like,
I was grown.
niggas thought that they was grown men. We was kids. He
Hmm.
died a kid. A lot of these dudes that died as little kids. So,
Hmm.
and then you get to the bounty and you thought it was all sweet. Like even when D Moss and them, you asked me about them, even when they first caught their time and everything, like it was kind of like in my head, this is part of the game. This is how it goes. I ain't quit a game banging because that nigga got time. I mean, well, he didn't get time yet, but he's looking at this, he's looking at that. But then when I started seeing all my friends around me disappear, and it was just me, and then I mean, of course, it's gang of homies from the turf, but it's just me. I started like, damn, it's like shit was getting real, and then when you got to the bounty and you was looking at all that time, I mean, was it what you expected? Like, when you got to jail, and then even getting into prison, what was your like what was your experience like?
I mean, my experience in the county jail was, I'm a man now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a man. I can tell you one story. I went in there on my 18th birthday with my, you know, unit confinement shirt on because I'm dressed in juvenile hall, orange shirt, blue pants, unit confinement, and I'm around all these grown men. I'm 150, 54 pounds around all these grown men. They moved me in the cell with an individual whose little homie I was in there for. right? And this dude looked like a grown, swole silverback. You know what I mean? And he asked me like, "What am I locked up for?" And I know where he from. I know, and I'm scared. I'm scared because I'm 155 pounds. You know what I'm saying? This man looked like he's 40 years old, but I tell him why, because this is what we've been taught.
Right.
This is what we've been taught. So I'm like, this is what it is. And I'm like, man, all right, well, I'm about to die. See, like that's the reality of that situation, man. But I was a kid, So when you ask me what my situation was like, or was I dancing in the holding tank because I didn't get life, I don't remember it like that because one thing I remember is how I felt at that time in my life. And at that time in my life, I didn't feel like dancing.
Maybe the homie thought it was more so. Maybe he got it confused with how y'all was when y'all first hit juvie and thought it was a joke. Maybe that's what he thought was
Probably was, but yeah,
it.
I didn't feel like dancing. And yeah, my prison experience was a little bit of the same, I need to survive. Like I gotta survive. I gotta make it home. I got 21 years, but I gotta make it home, and I gotta make it home on my feet.
Well, all right. So you get to the pen. I mean, even when you was in the valley, though, how long did you have to stay in there?
I stayed in the county jail for 9 months.
9 months. So it wasn't shit. I did that a year straight, bullet GSU violation, right? Shit sucked. That shit, I was really, I wish they'd give me that violation in prison because at least you could do more shit. But when you left the county and you finally got to Donovan, right? Reception yard, is that where you went first, or did you go to like
Yeah, I
Chief?
went to I went to reception, Donovan reception. Went to Donovan reception, left there, went to Pelican Bay, went to, High Desert, Calabasas, Nella, Ironwood, Lancaster. I didn't hit them all.
So
I didn't hit them all.
you get any homies or something that kind of taught you how to jail and how to shit go, like how to do prison time and survive and how to move in there?
Of course. Of course. There was a lot of people who poured into me. I was 18 years old. I was uh I was an 18-year-old kid coming into what, Pelican Bay State Prison. One of the most dangerous prisons in California at the time. Well,
Why did you go
technically
there
not
first?
at that time, but it had the name of still being one of the most dangerous prisons in California.
That's like a level 5 prison. Why did you go there first?
No, it's a level 4, but it's a 180. Goes to level 4, but then you got 180 and 270s. But that's because of the charges. That's where they send you. Now it's different, but that time when you get it, when you have those type of charges and you have that much time, you're going to a level 4 180 prison.
Right. Shit, I mean, I know most of like the bros and stuff. They went to Kern Valley, New Folsom, all that old shit. All
which
those
is a which is a which is a 180, which is a 180. All those are 180 prisons.
Pelican Bay.
So everybody went to the most maximum security prisons. There's only 5 of them in California. So you're going to touch one of them.
Right. So getting there, low fall, shit sucks, no program. I mean, at that point, in my mind, like I said, I never graduated to the pen. But in my
And
mind,
that's a
like,
blessing. That's a blessing.
it is a blessing. And one of the bros, first thing he did when he touched down, he got caught with a burner, right? And it's like being 18, not knowing what to expect, not knowing if niggas is really trying to be booty bandits or if niggas is really, set tripping. You gotta have you a blaster, and you know what I'm saying. You might, especially when you in there for trying to chip something or chipping some shit. You always gonna run into the opposition. That's worse probably in the bounty because everybody's from your city, and
Wrong. Not like that. Not like that. Let me just get rid of that because this is prison. So it's no longer you ain't got you don't have the luxury of seeing someone that's against you and just going over and handling business. You don't have that luxury.
right.
There's rules and regulations. You're gonna follow them or they gonna you got something to answer to.
That's where I was getting at, like, but when you first get there, you be thinking that, it's gonna be all these situations, or I gotta be out, I gotta just stand my own. But I think a lot of people don't realize that you can go to prison and you can do your time effectively, and you can stay out the way. You ain't gotta get extra time added to you. You can do your time and go home. What made you prison to turn a lot of people into monsters, weenies? or they have some a fucking epiphany, and they transition and they get ready. What at what point did it hit you and you wanted to change your life and you wanted to get, you know, that okay, when I get home, this is the guy I'm gonna be.
Uh, I did 16 years and that probably didn't happen to my 10th year. Like my time was I paroled a level 4. So I didn't have the easiest walk in prison. I wasn't a victim in prison. That was my thing. I never wanted to become no victim. So I'm gonna do something before someone tells me to do something or someone does something to me, right? But I also was strategic, and I just knew that I did not want to come back to prison. That's one thing that I knew, you know, people learn at different times in their life, right? People get it at different times in their life. No matter what you experience, you understood that you went to jail, you did your bullet, and you was like, I don't want to come back to this. And you made a decision not to come back to that,
Right.
right? I made that decision when they told me you looking at 75 to life. My eyes woke up immediately, but guess what? I still have to live this life. And so my mind at that time was like, I'm gonna come home just how I came in. Because that's just what I used to think. Like, oh, I ain't gonna change up now. I came in active, I'm gonna leave active, and then I'll figure it out once I get out, right? But I ain't coming back to this. But I made that decision not to come back when they told me 75 years to life.
You was like, you was already checked out. Like, I'm gonna knock this deal off. And when I get out, I'm not fucking around. This is done. What
I would have figured something else out.
what do you think?
What's up?
What do you think is your? Because it's really it's interesting. Of course, I didn't heard all the prison stories. I mean, I seen wild shit even being in the county. I seen a nigga get the side of the neck bit off. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen wild stories, but for these young guys, man, that go in there, and I even see some of these dudes, they get 2, 3 years and look in these camps, level ones, and like, and they be in there doing all kinds of BS that would never fly on the 3 and 4, right? But for somebody that ain't never had a look at that time, like, you know, even sometimes like some shit I might hear about, bro, and or some shit they be doing, I'll be like, but I always withhold judgment because I ain't gotta walk your walk. I never had to walk your walk. I never had to look at I'm not coming home. The fact that you got there and you knew you was coming home and you was around people that wasn't going home, did it make you feel more blessed every day? Did it make you want to be better every day, or did you just say that's just a problem?
It didn't make me feel blessed every day because, mind you, I'm in Pelican Bay and 90% of the people got life. And at that time, life meant life. It's not like it is today. So the people who had life were probably thinking, I'm never coming home. Right. And so I didn't go around talking about my time like, oh, I got a date and I'm coming. What? No, I'm not talking like that. This is my life. This is where I'm living. And I'm gonna make it home, but I gotta make it to the next day first. And then the next day and the next day. So that was my mentality. I will survive. I won't be a victim. All those things were constantly in my mind every single day. And so, yeah, I felt blessed, but that blessing was short lived because every day I woke up in prison. And then I also detached from God early on in my time. So I didn't have God in my life. It was just me, right? It was just me, which honestly made it more difficult. That made my time a lot more difficult.
So would you say that you felt like your time was felt longer than it was, or you know, I always say to my bro, like, you know, I'm always tapped in with all my brothers, especially I did all the time. I walked a lot of journeys off with my dogs, and I'm like, you know, for me, it always seemed like a bad memory or a bad dream. Like everything happened so fast. Like in 2006, 2010, I was in and out 6 months, year, 3 months, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And now, like, I'm so far removed from being in jail that it's like I knew that this happened to me, but it's all like a bad dream. You know, like how do you look at it or cope with
I think honestly, that's kind of how I deal with it. Like I don't have that. the residual effects of prison, like the more apparent residual effects, like I can't be around people or I wake up, with crazy thoughts and what I'm saying, it shakes and all. I don't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't wake up even think about prison all the time. When I think about prison, when I'm talking to people in conversations like this, that's when I really think about prison. When I'm trying to tell people not to go to prison, when I'm talking to kids and telling them about prison stories, right? Or when I'm talking to men and women who have walked the same journey as me in prison, and I start to relive those stories in order to tell them, hey, remember what we overcame. Don't be so complacent in the life you live now that you forget what you just overcame. So those are the times that I really think about prison. Other than that, man, I'm living life. I don't even think about that stuff like that. It don't affect me in a negative way. I use it as fuel.
So you said year 10, right? Year 10, it kind of clicked on you that you wanted to change. You wanted to transition from being, like you said, you was always Will, but, MacBo Skyline to I'm going to be, Will, and I'm going to get my mindset right. Like, what was it that clicked for you, or what happened? What did you experience that made you, or was God coming back and touching you?
Nope. God did, I caught a battery. I caught a battery. That's really what where it really clicked with me because I had been on level fours my whole time, right? Level fours, 180s, doing all that stuff, and I finally got an override to a level three, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing good. But as you know, you go from level four to a level three. I'm pretty sure you heard many stories where the respect level is way down in a level three, and so what I have been used to people respecting everything, right? We respect everything. We level four because we know it'll pop off at any time and people will die. And so our respect level is very high. Level three, it's not like that. So I had to do things to people, you know what I'm saying, getting little skirmishes, little fights, little to all these different things because these young people were very disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like they just took too many liberties and I wasn't going for it because that's not what I've been taught. That's just not how I did my time. And it was a situation like I've been doing so good. I started enrolling in college and I was doing self-help groups and I was doing really good. But because I was still tied into, gang activities, it was somebody who did something and me being me, he came from around my way. And so what do? I raised my hand like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Let's do it. And, we do, we catch a battery 2-on-1. We do, and I'm sitting in the hole, not even go to the hole, but I'm sitting, cuffed up and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like I done all this time, I've done all this stuff. Like, why am I still doing this? Like, why am I still doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I went to the yard like the next day and I'm like, hey, look, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Not hanging it up, but I done so much. Don't call me for nothing. Unless it's serious, don't call me for nothing.
Right.
Don't call me for nothing. And they respected it. Like, all right, you good, like you good. And so that's what I did, and I started to really focus on myself. That was a moment where I had to focus on myself because I didn't have to worry about, okay, well, somebody got to get DP'd or, saying somebody doing this or I gotta, as long as it wasn't a racial issue, I was like, leave me out of it. Don't even come to my door. You know what I mean? And and I appreciated the people that I had around me that respected that and didn't make me do anything, you know what I'm saying? Or even question my motives to where I would want to do something. You know what I mean? So it just was it just all fell into place. It was perfect.
Is
It was
that
perfect at that time.
back? Is that what sent you back to level four though, or
Yes. That sent me back to level four.
so that's how you ended up getting off on the four? So I mean, y'all did y'all whole time. You and your crime, y'all did y'all whole time separated.
Yes.
Why is that? Is it because y'all points just never added up?
It's
Like,
different time. We just different time. It was a few of us. We just different time. You get to different places. Ain't no telling where the prison system. I always was on level four. So while they did better, I didn't.
usually though, when you first get shipped off with your sellers, y'all
Like you see me now. I'm second chance Will now,
right
right? And this is who I am. It's not a gimmick. This is really who I am. But I wasn't always this guy.
here, this poise, like you're poised,
I wasn't.
like
It took a lot to overcome.
yeah, you're
What's that?
and um, and I tell people all the time, right? And I used to tell the homie Tiny Stretch, right? Because he's aggressive. He's aggressive behavior. It's just him. He's loud. He's aggressive, but he's very smart dude. Like book smart. Uh, he's done colleges. He's like been in classes. Like he passes shit. Like he's got intelligence, but but sometimes I felt like he held on to the streets too tough, too heavy, right? And it's kind of like sometimes you know how homies like some gangsters they want you to know that they're gangsters that they tough. And I used to tell them, you don't have to look like a grizzly bear to be a grizzly bear. You know what I'm saying? If people poke the bear gonna come out. But if you want to transition and you want to be this person that you say you want to be, or you want to do other things, like you got to shed that image. And it'd be like homies coming home from prison. And the reason why I'm asking these questions and what clicked for you, because for a lot of homies, things don't click. I mean, you hear about some homies mark out, they drop out, they end up rolling up, all kind of shit. Or you hear about some homies turning into monsters, and they in there squabbling all the time, and they just when they come home, they always headed back. They what made you like you didn't tattoo your face up, you didn't do a whole bunch of silly shit to yourself to where when you come home, it would make your transition harder. And then it's like you came home with what I like about you so much is your positive attitude and mindset and your positive energy. And you're not afraid to smile, laugh, you articulate yourself well. I listen to how you speak and your verbiage, your words, right? Because I can notice it and I notice how poised you are because I'm on the same tip. Like I've been working in corporate America for a while now, and everything that I had to learn and overcome, it wasn't easy. It wasn't overnight. I'm I'm the least educated person that well, we probably know, but I'm self-educated and self-taught everything that I know. There's no classes I took. I never even finished high school, right? But a lot of people don't know. I ain't got nothing. And I've figured out ways to transition and get to places that I wanted to be. And I never knew how I was going to do it. When I used to sit in the bounty, and I was in the bounty with Belcher, Choose, D-Moss, a gang of niggas, Jay Big, a gang of homies, right? Moose Law, Gray Ant, all kind of niggas, right? At different times. And people would tell me what they was gonna do, and I got out hustling. I'm like, man, I ain't going back to jail for free. I'll go back, I'll go back for some money, but I ain't going back to jail for free. But what helped me was being able to see what other people going through. You asked me about
Mhm.
moms. I visited him, but it breaks my heart. When I get to go home, he don't get to go home. It breaks my heart. It brings tears to my eyes, like real shit. Like, imagine, from the sandbox but he can't come home. And I take my daughter so he can have active, he can know her, he can meet her, and they can have fun. They play games, eat from the little bullshit vending machines, and it's a learning experience for her. I try to make sure that she understands and has, but it's a heartbreaking situation. So other people, I was one of them people that you touch fire, it's gonna burn, right? You got to figure out it's gonna burn for you for yourself. But shit, once I seen another motherfucker, enough people, not one, but I seen enough people burned alive. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, this could be you if you keep on knocking on Satan's
I
door.
ain't gotta touch it.
Yeah, I ain't got to touch
Yeah.
it. I know it hurt, but I don't want to, I don't want to flame. I don't want to become a carcass. So when you got on your last turn to go home, right? Because anything can happen at any given time. I mean, being on a 4 yard and it goes up, niggas is getting stuck. The people don't understand this. There's guards in the tower with rifles popping at you, trying to knock you down. Like it's really dangerous. Not just us versus Mexicans or whites being in a situation where they shooting from the tower with rifles. I know you probably have seen some folks get hit with them things before, or just he's on the yard getting blasted, not making it home to their family. It's hard. I can imagine how hard it has to be to. I have to be tough to make it home, but then I'm trying to be this other guy, so that I want to change my mindset now. When you got to your last stretch and you knew you was coming home, like, did you already have a plan?
No, I didn't have a plan because I'm glad you said everything you said because I too, I mean, only thing I have is my GED that I got in juvenile hall. On in this case, it's the only thing I have. Like I don't have any certifications. I'm self-taught. I'm well read. You know, that's that's me. I'm you. Like we're very similar in that way. And my experiences on the last term, yeah, man, the devil will throw so many things at you when your blessing is right around the corner, right? You'll be tested left and right. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was tested left and right with a year go to the house, and I'm over here fighting people, like just being tested. But luckily, I didn't get no write-ups. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get no write-ups because that would have blown my opportunity to go to MCRP. So there were things that was testing me, but I knew not only did I know I didn't want to come back, it was at that point where I knew I wanted to change lives, right? Like I still, associated myself with Skyline, but I used to say, like before we started, and I used to tell you, how Tada was like, man, Sky Life, doctors, lawyers, judges, like that's what we would have from this neighborhood. Like it was more than just a gang, it was a neighborhood, right? That's the the dream that I held on to. And so my mindset was, I only have positive contributions to give to my neighborhood now. It is now my time to rebuild the community that I helped destroy. That's was my mindset. And that's what I did from inside those walls. My journey didn't just start once the door cracked. I was having these conversations inside there with like-minded individuals. I found the people that I needed to surround myself with so that I can continue to grow into the person that you see today. And so I tell people even in there, like it don't start when you come outside. It starts in there, right? Your change starts in there. And
Yeah.
so yeah, man, my journey on my last stretch, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of homies and I be talking to them about things and I'm like, well, what is your plan? Right? Everybody look at me and think that this was this is wasn't overnight. What is your plan? Like coming home and winging it. If you doing it 5 years, you got a nickel, you got a decade, you got a dub, whatever you got. What is your plan for when you come home? You ain't got nothing but time to figure out a master plan. A lot like they don't understand that people on the streets, they be thinking that oh, we just got all this time in the day and we make all this money and we just having fun all the time and all that. They think that we forgot about them or neglected them sometime. And it's like anything I got, if you ask me, I'm gonna do it for you if I can, right? Especially like any bros locked up, like whatever, sometimes I just hit them asking if they need something, if they need something, they got a $20, $30, whatever the case. But coming home, what is your plan? I'm willing to talk to you on the phone a couple times a week and we can master plan a plan and you could bounce your ideas off me because a lot of things that people say aren't reality. Achievable, but the way you want to go about it, not reality, not how things work in the real world. I live in the real world. I'm telling you that what I am is I'm like, I consider myself a master consultant. You give me an idea, I'm gonna give you some solutions, some ways that you can probably, take some routes you can take to achieve this, right? And I'm gonna give it to you straight. You might not like it, and it's not. I'm never gonna be negative towards anything. Anything's attainable and achievable. But how can you achieve it? I'm gonna give you some scenarios, some routes, because that's just what I'm good at. So, any of my homies that's coming home, like if you want to go about it, you want to talk about it, like I'm always going to encourage my bros to do things so that you have to stay productive. You have to stay busy. Your worst enemy is idle time, right? And I say, like even certain homies that got killed or whatever, right? You got, I'll be telling homies like, if that person might have been at work, if they had a job, they had some responsibilities that they were taking advantage of, they probably wouldn't have been there, and this kind of shit wouldn't have happened to them. Now, your destiny is your destiny to a degree, but even the Bible say, if you biblical, things that you do can bring about your death, can bring your early demise. One of them not being obedient to your parents. Another one's your decisions that you're making. You run and ride around with a motorcycle all the time with a helmet off. Anything can happen. You're gonna take trauma to your head, take heed to the laws of the land. You know what I'm saying? Wear a helmet. But even then, a motorcycle is dangerous. Y'all want to keep parading on them. You see people go down all the time, banging. You see people get chipped all the time. You know that there are things that can take you out earlier if you participate in them. So stay busy, get a job, focus on what you want to do for a career. Got one bro, been out 5, 6 years. I'm like, listen, you got to think longevity and long game. Go get a regular job. I get it. Regular jobs might not pay as much as some of the side hustles that are legitimate and legal, but
Gotta start somewhere.
the side hustles don't come with any health benefits. And I'm explaining to them about how health benefits work: dental, vision, health, right? 401k, companies matching a 401k with you. If you putting, you guys both matching 3% and they putting $300 in with your $300, that's $600 a month. That's what, $7,200 a year that they putting in. 5 years you stay with the company at $7,200, it's going to gradually go up because you're going to get a pay raise. But let's say $7,000, $7,200 a year for 5 years. You got down payment on a house money. You got business startup money. You got something that's going for something. Plus, you start learning about it. You could take that money and invest in things, but you start learning about the IRAs, and things like that. And then you're gonna get job advancement, and you're gonna get around people higher up, and you can learn from them. How I learned. If anybody ever was curious how I learned so many things, every job that I had, I talked to people, I met people, and I ended up getting another job from it. Or, I learned things from people that were at that job and executives and XYZ, right? That kind of I would study and listen to how they behave. And even my friends that are rich, got money, they, don't have to do nothing for the rest of their life. I study them, how they treat people, how they talk to people, how they are humble around other people. And, you know, even my relative, he was a first round pick, play football. He would always make sure he prayed before he ate. Sometimes I forget to pray before I eat. And then watching him will humble me because you got everything. You can say I did it on my own. But, just paying attention to what's going on and learning how people talk and conduct themselves and hold themselves. Women, people I meet, they don't know. They just think that I'm like a sweetheart or all kinds of shit. They don't understand what we went through. You talk about the shakes and you talk about thoughts and dreams, all that shit. I got all that shit. PTSD'd out, right? I have to, I could be driving on the freeway and anxiety can hit me, right? And, feel like I got a shortness of breath and I don't. And I could be thinking about things that give me anxiety from my younger ages. And even to this day,
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, because I hear everything you're saying, and one, your story is amazing. I love your story and everything you was able to overcome to be in the position that you're at, and and the projection that you're on, right? But with that being said, we overcame so much through our childhood and all those traumas. So now we talked about this earlier. What responsibility do we have to make sure that the people, the kids growing up in the communities that we came from and the communities all around don't follow in those same footsteps? What responsibility do we have?
we got plenty of responsibility to it. I always feel like this, like it's always to me, each one teach one, right? The information that I give, I'm always willing to give it to everybody, right? I learn a lot from Demos too. Demos is always trying to reach out to the young life. Anybody like that hears about him and his reputation, like his music, they look up to him for the wrong reasons, right? Because they want to be factors like this heavy hitting shit, this little sleep, little okay man, little Mike GP shit. They look up to all this because of what he's done and the reputation he created. But he's like, listen, you don't want to be like me. I don't want to be like me. And I
Right.
feel the same way, like, even a buddy that was at your wedding, light skinned buddy with the braid, I forget what his name was. And he like,
Samuel.
Samuel, he was like, oh, and this and that. He's telling me a little bit of this and that. I'm like, listen, bro, holler at me though. You welcome to hit me up and holler at me anytime. We can chop it up, talk about X, Y, and Z. You don't know me like that. I don't know you like that. But when you with certain credible individuals, you automatically got a certain welcoming from me. And it's like any homie that want to talk to me about things and how they could transition and do better stuff, I'm always gonna be the guy that's going to that's going to encourage you. I'm always going to encourage you to do the positive. Anytime I get around homies, some homies used to call me a preacher. They'd be like, "Oh, here goes CP preaching to me again," right? I'm going to preach to you the good. Don't get me wrong. If it's up, I'm gonna go up with you because I feel like it's my obligation. But I'm gonna try to prevent things from going up. I'm a live and let black men live type of guy. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on in my heart and in my situation. But if you poking the bear, I can only turn. I ain't turning no cheeks, but you stay over there, I stay over here, and it's no problem. It's no disrespect. But if you being disrespectful, it's not something I'm not going to tolerate. But I always try to tell homies like, listen, they don't want to do things certain sometimes, and they miss out. They missing out on experiences. And I tell them, listen, you got to go into everything you do with positivity. One, we're gonna make it home tonight. Two, we're gonna have a great night with no problems and no trouble. We're not worrying about running into nobody. You ain't got to worry about doing nothing crazy. With my younger days, it was hope for the best, prepare for the worst. My mindset now is expect the best, prepare for the rest, right? And if you live by that, because that's the energy that you're putting out. If you're going out with hammers
Yes.
and you are trying to prepare for the worst thing that can happen, and you going out with that energy, the devil gonna find you. It's gonna find its way in. It's gonna creep in. But if you going out minding your business, you're doing like I be in and out the city. I don't really have too much trouble. I'm be maneuvering. The devil be trying to test me for sure all the time. I done bumped into a couple foul dudes, right? They try to holler at me, and it's like, listen, and me, I gotta stand on it. I said what I said. What do you want to do? Go over there. Why are you talking to me? Leave me alone. Go over there. Because it's gonna get to a point where I gotta do something to you. Finally, when it's over, de-escalated, because it was this close. So I'm gonna put demonstration. I don't want to. But I be thanking God. Like every time I go home or go anywhere, I'm praying. I'm on the plane. I'm praying for safe travels. I'm praying that this plane is perfect. I'm praying the pilot is vigilant and well rested. We got to get there. The survival of John Connor is important. Then I'm always praying that I get there. John Connor, my kid, I got to come back to be with my daughter. But I'm praying when I get
Yeah,
there, I have a good time. Like before I got to your wedding the other weekend, I'm praying I get there. Let's have a good time. Let's be safe while we're there. You know, just go out there with great intentions and have
definitely.
in fellowship with your brothers,
And it was a
right?
great time.
And it was a great time. And no matter what
Yeah,
bullshit, comes our way, it's a great time. But that's my
great time.
mindset every time. But I know every time I go home in the danger zone, it's nobody forgot about what you did last summer. And
See, I have had no negative experiences since I've been because it's all about the energy. And that's what I tell people is if you looking for problems, you're gonna find problems. But if you just got positive energy, then positivity is gonna come back your way. You know what I mean? And I've walked around, down, at the beach with my shirt off and I got all this stuff on me. You know what I'm saying? And but I see like, hey, what's happening, brother? You know, say what's going on, brother? Like I'm not moving scary or nothing. Like, no, I'm not, that's not me.
I
But
was
I'm also gonna
definitely gonna
give
get
you
to
what I
that.
want in return, all positivity. Huh?
I was gonna get to that definitely because I know you want to be, you will. That's what you want to be addressed as, right? And even some homies and younger homies, they might not really know and understand that it's not I forgot where I came from, but I've transitioned. You came home. First of all, like when they cracked the doors and the doors open for you, what was your mindset? Like when that door opened for you, what was the mindset? What was it like? Like
So
was it unbelievable?
I'm gonna tell you my transition specifically moving away from gang mentality. Because when I came home and I told this to my PO and in the halfway house, and he gave me a reward. Like, what? I never heard it like that. And I told him, like, man, I'm still from Skyline. I'm always gonna be from Skyline. That's my community, but I have nothing but positivity to give back to that community, right? And what I'm saying it because I believed it, right? I believed it at that time. And then I started to question why do I keep saying that? Like, what is my motivation for always saying, oh, I'm still from Scotland. Oh, I'm still from Scotland. What is my motivation? You say, and what do I get? from that and what am I putting out there? And then I started to think like there's nothing like positive about that. And by saying that, it also keeps me from being able to connect with other people. Because if I'm going to the juvenile hall and they hear, oh, this is Wooty Woo from Wooty Whoop, off top, they don't even want to hear nothing I got to say because of where they from, right? Or they might, because they kids, they go, oh, F, you know what I'm saying? Oh, fuck Skyline. Or what? I'm like, okay, cool. Now what? You know what I'm saying? I still love you. I still care about you. I still want the best for you. You know what I mean? Like, so that was my biggest thing to move away. Me attaching to that, there was nothing positive. You know what I mean? And I'm here for the world. I'm here for all of Southeast. I'm here for every single child out there who's been told a lie, and I'm no longer perpetuating that lie. Right? I have a responsibility to show them and tell them this is not the life for you. Because I can say, oh, don't do that. But if all they see is me saying, oh, but I'm Skyline, hey, Skyline, but y'all don't do that, what you think they're gonna do? You think they're gonna listen to what I say or what I do? That's kids. Kids listen and follow what you do. They don't care what you tell them. How you gonna tell me don't do this, but I look up to you and I love you and I idolize you and you do it? And you saying it's cool. And because I'm not living that life no more, if I'm saying Skyline, these are kids, they're on the front lines of it. So when they hear me say Skyline, or they hear you say Skyline, or they hear anybody, talk about the gang mentality, but we not in the streets. We not in the streets. You say, like you said, you live a corporate job. Hell, I live a corporate, I work a corporate, say type job. So I'm not in the streets. But if they hearing me say that and they adopting that type of lifestyle, they're actually doing the things that lifestyle comes with. So everything that happens to them, there's a responsibility on me,
I'm with you.
right? There's a responsibility on us.
I think for me, part of it is good habits are hard to find, are hard to break. I mean, bad habits are hard to break. But I think for me, it's this. This is me. You know me from back in the day, right? And you see me now. You can come from this and never forget who you are and where you come from and transition and rise to this if you want it. Redemption, I say it all the time. Redemption is for those who seek it, right? When
Hmm.
I was pushing the skyline everywhere thing with all my traveling all around the world, you know, take the skyline everywhere with me, right? All the homies, like I'm inspiring. I would say I'm the first homie that's really pushed and been around the world first and showed niggas that. And homies used to say, like, even though I'm the homie, niggas be like, oh, well, weird sometimes. Like they'd be like, oh, he's weird because I'm not a follower, because I didn't follow what other people did. Not he's a punk or a buster, but since I'm not following everybody else's trend and I'm on my own shit, then you're weird. But then it went from he's weird to, hey, how do you do what you do? Right? Now y'all interested and y'all want to figure out how I'm doing the things that I'm doing, what I'm doing, and now I got all these different skills. Like I sent you that video. I ain't never took no photography, videography, editing
It was
class.
amazing. It was amazing.
I ain't been to no colleges and done this and that. I'm all self-taught. Everything that I did. I've been working in sales forever. Customer service, I'm a talker. I can communicate. I had to figure out how I can translate what I do well. And I tell a lot of people all the time, listen, find out what you're good at and exploit it. Make money off it, right?
Hmm.
I don't
Definitely.
I don't think being from the neighborhood that you come from and being proud of being from the neighborhood you come from is a bad thing, because I'm not telling nobody go through what I've been through to get to where I'm at. I'm really trying to tell you, get out of what you're doing and take it here and inspire homies to do this. Because like you said, they react off what they see. So if you see
Hmm.
a homie with a real reputation doing these good things, then they'll start following these good things that you're doing. And then real gonna respect real no matter where you're from. I can appeal to anybody, right? Crip, Bud, Paru, Brim, whatever. I can appeal to anyone. Is if you open to having conversations with me, because you got to be in different parts of your life to be receptive of communication. There's always
Yep.
homies that you can try to talk to, and they're not receptive of your communication, what you're doing. I be talking to little bro all the time, little Pluck. Well, he's not little Pluck, he's Pluck, right? And he's got these tattoos on his face, and I'm like, brother,
Yeah.
I want you to get rid of this shit. Like, what do you see yourself actually? What do you see yourself doing with your life for the rest of your life? You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
I want you to be able to. I want people to be able to look at you and not prejudge you as a thug because you got all this stuff on you. And not to be just name dropping homies, but I mean, of course they're gonna watch it, and it's never a disrespect. Love them to death. If you need something from me, you always got it. And they know I look out. And I'm gonna come around. I don't treat anybody differently. I can't be a part of the nonsense. And y'all can't do no nonsense around me and put me in a bad situation because I'm gonna react because I'm a homie. But afterwards, but I want to encourage y'all to do the better things. And I had bro come out here and visit me a couple years back, took him around all the NFL stars to play for the Cardinals. First time in a club, faded, bottles, models, right? All the drinking. I'm like, bro, slow down. All the drinking that he could do, throwing up everywhere, right? It was funny, right? And it's like, and I took you out to have a good time and show you a different thing in life. Like, move away.
Hmm.
Sometimes you got to remove yourself from the stuff that's around you. That was the best thing I ever did. So you coming home, getting a passport, ending up in Africa, and working where you work. I know the buddy that was in your wedding, one of your groomsmen. He said, I know that he gave you an opportunity to come and work. He said he went home and he prayed on it, and he gave you an opportunity to come and work with him. How did all that transpire? How did you meet him? How did you hear about the job? And then even getting a passport and going to Africa. And that's your first trip out the country was Africa.
Definitely. No, yeah. No, I went on a cruise. I went on a cruise. That was the first trip. I went on a cruise
But like
down to
really,
Mexican Riviera.
I'm saying, but like really
No, that
country. Like I've been on a cruise before, but it ain't the same type of experience. Like really get on a plane.
that was my first yeah, that was my first experience to Africa. I mean, shoot, I'm the first person in my family, except for my slavery ancestors, to go to Africa, man. So that was a blessing right there. That was extreme blessing. But I mean, yeah, the opportunity to go to the gym Chula Vista. I mean, I have a mentor. My mentor, his name's Jason. He's a fire captain, and I had came home not in immediate need of money, right? Not in immediate need. And he told me, like, man, look, you into fitness, you want to be a personal trainer. Like, I got a friend, he owns a gym, and why not let's see if you can get an interview. Instead of working at something that you not gonna like, do something you like until you find what you love. So I went to the interview and $15 an hour killed it on the interview. Like you said, I ain't got a lot of skills, but I know how to talk, and I speak from the heart. And they loved it. They loved me. And I told them, man, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm a quick learner. If you tell me, I'll learn it and I'll be an asset to any team. And I was like, okay,
See,
all
that's
right.
because you know what? I had to lie, steal, kill, cheat, do whatever I had to do to get to get to where I'm at. I be telling folks all the time, like, you guys don't understand the pressures of, and hoping I pass these background checks or what can I do to maneuver and this and that and what jobs can I get that don't require X, Y, and Z and how can I get to the level I want to be. Like I always wanted to dress and wear nice clothes and most people they see me like this, but I wear slacks, dress shirts, dress shoes, blazers, whatever. I wear that kind of stuff to work every day now, right? And even when I worked in other tech companies, right, and having to deal with the pressures and be able to communicate and speak the language, right? Like most people don't realize that most people are either afraid of success, afraid of failure, or afraid of what they have to let go to get to the next level.
Hmm. Yeah. And for me, honestly, like when I started working, again, I started working $15 an hour, and that's a part of my testimony. Like, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And working hard was always something that I wasn't afraid of. Like, I was not afraid of working hard. I started working $15 an hour, and now I'm part owner of that gym, right? Why? Not because I had any credible skill, because I worked hard. I outworked the people working next to me, or I I did the things that they didn't expect, right? And that's all I tell people when I'm talking to them. If I go into juvenile hall, if I'm going into MCRP, if I'm talking to this group, if I'm standing up like, bro, you can do whatever you want to do if you refuse to quit.
So getting to Africa and getting your passport, right? How did that journey, how did that transition? Like, did they offer you to come because of what you're doing, or did you just find out that they were doing it? Like, how did you guys, make that happen?
Nah, so with my friend and my business partner, we have, the nonprofit Post P organization. Post P Chronicles is a nonprofit organization. And part of that was we was able to get money so that we can go over there and give to orphanages and go in there, do prison ministry, and bring some of the prisoners much needed supplies. And my friend Steven, he's been there many times, right? He's been there for the last few years. So he had that connection with that organization. And then we just set it up ourselves. You know, we just raised money. We paid for the tickets out of our own pockets, and we raised money to go out there and give to these orphans and to the orphanages and to the prisons, you know. So he asked me, is something I want to do? I said, "Psh, man, I was in a yes state of mind. New experiences, yes.
But what did that do to you though when you got there and you seen the living circumstances, or you seen these people and I mean, you see life in its simplicity, right? Being in San Diego, like we're from San Diego. You're from the city by beaches, big buildings everywhere, so much going on. Uh, when you seen that, what was what was your mindset like once you got there and you was like finally like thinking about what
Man,
you did in life and now look at this. This is real life right here.
so it was an eye-opening, life-changing experience. Me being, a black man in San Diego, I mean, a black man from California, black man from the United States. I always thought there was that divide between blacks in Africa and blacks in the United States. They don't like us. We don't like you because we think you don't like us, right? That's just how I grew up. That was my thinking. I go over there, man, they accepted me. Every time I turn around, I'm seeing somebody look like me. You know what I mean? And that was an incredible experience. All the kids, they were just happy. A lot of people feel sorry for them. That's one thing. I'm like, man, don't feel sorry. They don't know what they don't have. They have their necessities, they have life, they have love, they good. They can use a few more things. So if you have an opportunity, then yeah, of course, bless them. But man, don't be over here just feeling sorry for everybody in Africa. It was love. I went to the club. You know what I mean? I met some people at the I met some people at the hotel. Some of you guys, man, show me how y'all party. Show me how y'all enjoy y'all time. And they just had fun. They was just loving life, man. They was loving life. And matter of fact, we're going back again in April. We will be going post reorganization. We're going to be raising money to actually build an orphanage on the farmland that we bought for them a few years ago. Um, my friend Steven, they had bought farmland, and this time we were able to last year we excuse me, not last year, but 2023 when I went, we bought a well and had someone dig a well for them and a latrine for the farmland that they bought for them. This time that farmland from where they live is like 15, 20 miles. So they got to walk almost a day just to get to the farmland. And so what they want to do is build a home for them on the land. And that is only going to be $12,000. So it sounds like, oh my goodness, an orphanage, that's extremely expensive. No, it's going to be 12 to $15,000 is what they need in order to build that land. And our whole goal with Post P International, because we have different parts of our organization, and where we do international work, but the whole goal is to help people become self-sustainable. It's not just give them money, give them money, give them money. You need food, Okay, well, let's buy these chickens, let's buy these cows, let's buy pigs, so that you don't have to keep asking from you can just you can be self-sustaining. You build a farm. You need a home. Okay, well, let's build this home. Let's you need this, let's build this so that we're gonna build a well so you don't need to keep asking people and you guys can help as many people as you want for as long as you want. That's the goal. So this will be the last trip to Uganda for those orphanages, and then we're looking to move to another country and you know, rinse and repeat.
Right. So don't fish for them, teach them how to fish. Well,
Exactly.
before I let you go, what is your advice, right, to the young people? Like if a young person, young folks was in front of you today and they were the younger you, right? And you had to look at the younger you, knowing where you headed, what would your advice be? What would you try to say? Even, whether they don't or they do, what would your encouragement be?
Man, that's a good question, man. I'm gonna tell you before I say that, I'm gonna tell you, I had an experience. I was driving up Skyline Drive and I was driving by MLK and I saw some kids, and in that moment I saw myself in those kids, right? And I thought about what I was thinking about when I was at that park, right? And what I needed to hear. And at that time in my life, I felt like I was at a crossroads because I had a different family that was showing me something good, and yet I had to always go back to Skyline. So even though I was outside of Skyline in Chula Vista with you know what I'm saying, my new family who was showing me something different that didn't grow up in the chaos that I had been um comfortable with, I still had to go back to my neighborhood. And so I'm looking at these kids and I'm like, man, what did I need to hear? And so what I would tell a kid right now, man, hey, listen, I love you and it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I don't want to do this. It's okay to feel how you're feeling. You know, it's okay to be afraid. All those things are okay. All those things are okay. But most importantly, I love you. Because sometimes they didn't hear that. There are so many kids that do not hear that at home, at school, nothing. And the only love they do receive, the only love they are comfortable with is from their homies when they're doing something wrong. And that's like me. Like the more bad I did, the more I was accepted. And so why wouldn't I continue to do bad? Right? But really kids just need to hear that that you love them. And then they gonna get mad and they like, oh, well, I know how to push you away. Do some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Do some dumb shit. And I know you gonna get mad just like my mom, just like my dad, just like my team. Nah, you okay, yeah, you did some dumb shit, but guess what? Still love you. I still care. I still want the best for you. You're still capable. You can still do whatever you want to do. You know, all those things are possible. All those things are assured of you. You can assuredly be a great individual. Hell, you can be the president if you want to. You can be the president if you want to. If that's what you aspire to be, you can do it, right? That's what I would tell these kids. That's what I'll tell every single kid that I come across. You're amazing. I don't care what you did. You're still amazing. I don't
That's,
care what you're thinking about.
that's
You're
dope.
still amazing.
They're growing up in a time where they seen the black president. I tell the homie all the time, listen, when we was at Freeze and they had them plastic laminated pictures on the wall, all the presidents, and they want you to memorize who all they were, who was the first president, the fifth, and all that. You never thought you was gonna see a black president up there. Now you seen it.
Mm,
But I appreciate you,
hmm
give me your time, man, and shedding light on the story, and that is good information. Always making the children feel like they loved, and I try to do the same thing with my own daughter. I've been asking her since she was 3 years old if she's happy. If you're not happy, why aren't
mm,
you happy? What would make you happy? And as a little
mm,
kid response, you're gonna get certain things. I always got that she was happy, but even then, like, why aren't you happy with me? Because resentment, if a parent should never have resentment to their child, but a child having resentment towards you is only something a parent can fix, right? So
right.
a lot of these kids walking around with resentment and it pushing them away from their families, and they're doing everything, like you said, to try to push their families away from them. Um, I think it's a lot of resentment in these children, and letting them know that they are loved and trying to break that barrier is a big deal, and dealing with tough kids. So I've always wanted to be a part of Big Brother programs. I'm about that. When you ask me about my contribution, I was always trying to figure out how can I be a part of them, and having a record, I got expunged. I can definitely, do a lot more to be a part of those kind of programs now. So we'll get together on that another time. And if you hear about some good stuff like that, always shoot it my way. And if I can make it out, I always gonna come out. Appreciate you, brother.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you, man. And
Now,
again, everything you're doing, I appreciate you, bro.
it's certain.
I'm a king.